So, as I've said before, these are my four last episodes tonight and the next three Wednesdays of August. So, my thought is to follow this with a discussion of the Caucasus after the Soviet collapse. So, we'll talk about Armenia, Azerbaijan, Georgia, the Rose Revolution, as concerns Georgia, the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, obviously as concerns Armenia and Azerbaijan, the breakaway regions, all of that, because my view is that the South Caucasus is part of the Middle East, and so that will be next week. The week after that, I will cover Afghanistan, starting from about the 1970s. And that might take 1 week, that might take 2 weeks. If it takes 2 weeks, then that's the end of the series. If it takes only 1 week, then the last episode will be the Gulf, Saudi Arabia, and the Gulf countries since World War II. So that is the plan. I have yet to update Meetup with that information, but the Zoom link will be the same. And so those of you who know. There's a question, is Erdogan a pan-nationalist envisioning a Turkic nation extending from the Uyghur regions of China through Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, and Turkey? I don't. I think the sort of idea that you're talking about is Turanism, this idea of a single Turkic state that encompasses all of these territories. I don't think Erdogan wants to rule all of that territory. I think he wants to have functional control over it, which is a huge difference. And so we're going to talk about Neo-Ottomanism, which is certainly part of Erdogan's philosophy. And part of that philosophy includes, expansion into the Turkic zones, which are exactly what you described. So I think that Turkey wants to have disproportionate influence. I think it wants to be a primus inter pares in that part of the world. And I think you can imagine that relationship as being very similar to the US Latin America relationship, where there's a key differential in power and a strong amount of political influence to the point where Turkey might be a kingmaker in those various countries. I think that's Turkey's goal. But I don't think it's going to be a situation where Turkey actually wants to annex all that territory and establish itself as an imperial state. So that sort of separates him from Turanists who absolutely would, like Nihalatzes. But I think that's a great question. Zach, do we have anything interesting coming up in the month of August?
So yeah, next week, this week on Saturday, I'm doing a live event. It's called basically the timeline of the various armies. We go from Roman Empire would be actually Ridgewood with Sergio, Ridgewood, New Jersey, a state park, and we're gonna be doing a timeline of various armies, starting with Roman Empire and ending with World War II. Particularly, I will be dressed in early America's, Cortez-esque army dress, or particularly Sergio says something like that. And then after that, Sergio will present the acceptance to become a Templar, which could, we'll talk about where the Templars originated from, how they participated in the Crusades, and then also at the end of the month, we're going to do something that's called it's an Auschwitz series, which we're probably going to start. We're going to talk about particularly a 22-year-old Nazi. We could call her a sadist. Her name is I forget her name, but they used to call her Hyena of Auschwitz. So please join for that one. I forget her name, but it would be an interesting presentation. And she was executed at the end of the war by British troops, but basically particularly
Just
interested
sorry.
that.
Her name is Irma Grease. Irma Grese.
Oh, yes, sorry. And that's that. And we still will continue to do languages, dead languages. Particularly, we're probably going to be talking about Hurrian. I have to follow up with John Mahoney, and then we will do a series of powerful women. We're still trying to find the powerful women we want to talk about. We'll see if it probably will go back to Alexander the Great and talk about Olympia or something like that. There's plenty of powerful women to talk about. So
I was going to say particularly nice that the Hurrians are going to come up, because the Hurrians are part of Turkish history on the opposite side of where I am, right? I'm going into the last, let's say, 50 years of Turkish history, and that's probably the first 50 years of written Turkish history. So what a fantastic place to start, but let's begin. Hi, and welcome to the 85th